creatures. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think, or where I place your favorite and least favorite creatures. And don't forget to check out all the other tiers of creatures, the ones before and the ones coming, and the towns and the heroes themselves. So let us get started. We're going to keep going with Haven first, I guess, and just go down the list. Griffins have an unlimited retaliation. Is pretty good. That's always a pretty strong thing to have. I think they're pretty decent in um, attack and defense. I might put them in A, but I am going to put both of these ones in S. I think the utility that they bring with having the battle dive or rush dive is fantastic. Minimum, you're going to hit one unit 99% of the time, or you're forcing your enemy to move around some units just in case. And having unlimited retaliation as well. Plus, if you throw in the fact that you can use Irina, which is the Griffin hero for Haven, that's going to be pretty insane as well. Now next is the Succubus. Sorry, I'm going down the list here. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Ranged retaliation is nice, but the chain shot that you're going to get, which you don't get from this one, the ranged retaliation, the amount of damage she does is not that great. The chain shot, even so, with ranged retaliation, is still not amazing. I mean, it's annoying, but if you just get up on her face, she's not really gonna. Just don't shoot her. Go melee attacker, and you'll be fine. Yeah, the chain shot kind of sucks, but it's still not a whole lot of damage, especially depending on who she initially hits first and who is the closest to that person. This upgrade though, I will give for the possibility of the mind control and being immune to mind control too. I mean, it's just nice, utility to have. Um, Succubus is on the lower side for me as far as tier 4 units. Did I say tier 3 units earlier? I might be dumb. I just did tier 3 units, so that's probably what I said. But these are tier 4. Um, so anyway, next, my boys, the Vamps. I've always loved the Vamps. I think if they definitely go unchecked, I gotta put this one in A and both of these up into S, because at this point it's just kind of preference. So none of them, there's no enemy retaliation. I think actually with this one there is. I could be wrong about that, but I always use this one just because of the being able to teleport and move around a lot better than him. But having life drain and being able to re-heal yourself. Now you can sleep enemies with this one, so there's definitely a different kind of utility there, just kind of more preference. I think this one's better probably for sieges, this one's better for regular fights, I would say, if that makes better sense. But for me, vampires, if they go unchecked, they're gonna destroy your team. And even if you are hitting them, if you're not hitting them with the right person or killing them fast enough, they're just gonna keep regening. And really, the only people that they can't regen their health against is obviously other Necropolis people, and then only 2 units from Academy. So everybody else is free game for them to gain some health back. So I think that's basically a pretty solid chance that you got going on that you're gonna be regenning some health with the Vamps and making them very hard to kill. Druids. Um, let's see. Druids probably, honestly, maybe the same. I think probably A and then S. Maybe this one into A still, just because that one, the utility and casts are not as good as this one. This one's got lightning bolt and Stone spikes. I think this one just had. I think this one's all offensive. Maybe. I forget. I always use that one. Some of these I have it even written down, but it's still just decent. Quick, so I can make these as quick and easy as possible to understand. But this the spell casting is different with this one. I think it's worse. It's definitely more utility spell casting, just increasing hero spell power and shit like that. So, but still being shooters plus casters is nice. They're definitely very devastating. Definitely one of the better tier 4 units in the game, let alone just units in the game in itself. They can definitely cause a shit ton of damage. Um, Dungeon with the Grim Raiders, though, I like them. Um, they can move around a lot and they can do a decent amount of damage, but their defense is not that great. Um, this one, I'm gonna go B, and both of these I'm gonna put into A this time. Having the lizard bite, just the extra attack when one of your other units attacks a unit that's near them, that's nice. And honestly, you see that in a pretty decent amount of fights, especially the bigger the fight that there is. And this one being able to, if you move them around a lot, you're getting free damage as you're walking by units, just slashing them, doing the wheeling attack. So um, being able, the more you move, it makes the target defense worse, so it's better to move them around a lot. So having this wheeling attack is extra. And honestly, the biggest reason why they're not an S is one, because Dungeon's creature growth is awful. Two, honestly, even with that, their attack is not too amazing. Even with all of the utility to making the enemy defense worse and wheeling attack. And their defense is just not really there either. It's okay, but like honestly, Druids to me are tougher than Grim Raiders as far as like, how much health and defense they have. Um, but that's just kind of how I feel about it. It's probably just because they're in the back and these guys are up front getting shit on anyway. Um, Mages, honestly, this mage deserves an S. And the only reason why he might not be in an S is just because, yo, what's up, Diavolo? Is just because he can obviously hit friendly units with his attacks. But other than that, as long as you just watch out, I mean, he's fine. The fireball, but I don't think this one has a fireball. I think this one only has Fist of Wrath. So definitely makes him much worse. Um, but I think this one still has a fireball just naturally, if I remember right. It's so hard to remember because like by the time I'm playing with the mages, they're already upgraded. So um, I'll throw that one into B just in case he doesn't have a natural early fireball. But still, mage's utility just with being able to cast and still do um, you can hit as many units are that are in the line that you're shooting in, but that also includes your own um, team. So it can be difficult to use them that way. Berserkers, I mean they're not really that great. They're not super attack heavy. They don't have a shit ton of defense either. You can make this one have all attack and no defense and no retaliation strike, but that's a clicked ability, so it's if you want to play that way, that's fine. Um, but this one I'll give this one an A, and while I still don't really think Berserkers are that great, um, having stun, having Giant Slayer, having, if they suffer damage, you're gaining stats. That's all worth an A spot, but to me, Berserkers are still like, they're just not as good as they should be for where they are. And then Shamans, um, Yeah, Shaman, not good. This one, just sacrificing a goblin. I mean, you can sacrifice a goblin for attack, defense, and morale, which isn't the worst thing, but you have to then make sure that you're by goblins, and that takes up a whole turn just to do that. And while those stats are, you gain a couple, they're just honestly not. Uh, I'll give them a. Yeah, I just can't. I can't. Um, this one I will give to B though, just because you can cast, and while it's only slow or I think it's just slow or haste, um, her attacks are actually pretty good. She's actually kind of decent. Um, can't be slowed, which is nice, and then her hexing attack is actually helpful. Always causing something when she actually physically attacks them. So I think it's worth it. I might even throw her into A just because of that, just because, she's just going to be casting on everybody, whether she's actually casting or she's damaging, and I'll give her an A. But still super low, and honestly, some of these like the Succubus and this the Druids, these ones specifically, Berserker, these are all kind of like iffy A spots, if you know what I'm saying. But these units definitely are some top tier units. I definitely. Griffins are insane, vampires are insane. This Druid is one of the best tier 4s in the game for sure. Mages are always, if they go unchecked, they're gonna fireball the shit out of your team for a while. And just then they can hit multiple units if they want to, but the only thing you gotta watch out for is hitting your own. So, um, but that is my Heroes of Might and Magic 5 Tier 4 units tier list, the the updated version. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and be sure to check out my previous tiers and the future ones when they come out. So we'll see you guys in the next ones.